The 2021 International Women's Day has come and gone, but in spite of the traditional annual ceremonies, TV shows dedicated to it, and talk shops everywhere, the relevant conversation on the rightful place of women in politics will remain a textbook exercise. In Nigeria, the outlook seems more discouraging, what with the appalling numbers of women in elective and appointive positions. If women are demonstrably underrepresented in government, how can they influence policy and promote ideas that can protect the girl child from physical and emotional manipulation? From Arise Abuja studios, we're now been joined to have a wider chat on this by Zainab Marwa-Abubakar, lawyer, founder and president, Aspire Women's Forum, secretary, the All Progressives Congress, North Central Zonal Supervisory Committee, and national coordinator, APC Female Aspirants Forum. Welcome to the program, Zainab. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, and thank you too for joining us, Zainab. It's good to see you again. Very quickly, International Women's Day, hashtag Choose to Challenge. And also, we're told the theme is about women in leadership. I mean, you are involved in politics, you are involved in civil society. What do you think we still need to do in Nigeria to have the great benefit of, the representation of women in politics? Because all the elections, even after the 2019 general elections, we have not seen any change, really. The system, the political system remains dominated by men.
Thank you. Well, in the 2019 general elections, 23,622 people actually vied for position. And out of that, only 2,970 were women. And out of that number, only 62 of them were elected. That's 4.17%, and it's abysmal, like you said. There's a great need from angle, and then from an angle of changing the mindset of Nigeria, sort of mindset infrastructural change, like my Uncle Martin Agbaso often calls it. We need to look deep into why we find ourselves where we are and how position. There are things to do with affirmative action. As you know, we have been pushing for the bill for women's rights to be made into law. And there are organizations such as my own, Aspire Women Forum. So just like you said, we yesterday the International 2021 with the theme Choose to Challenge. And what we did as an organization was to organize young female politicians, young females that are interested in politics, and actually push them into a sort of a quorum where we discussed the way forward. So we had a transgenerational talk between the millennials and the Gen Z generations, where we spoke to them about the importance of knowing who you are, situating yourself properly, and actually pushing for better management in women in politics. So we had Mary Ikoku of Emerge Women come and speak to them about the actual management process of elections and not wanting to just be given positions for the mere fact that you're a woman. We spoke to them extensively, and we also heard back from them. And most of the feedback was that of fear. They were scared to even venture into the political terrain because they did feel that it was a terrain for just men. But we set their fears at ease and explained to them that the only way to test the water is actually to dip your toe into it and see what it's like. So if organizations like mine, like Educate Her, run by Adora Onyechere of African Union, organizations like Elect Her, can stand up and continue to push for more inclusion of women, I think that we're halfway there.
That's really important work that you're doing. Now, you mentioned affirmative action in the legislative context, what you're trying to push there. But it does exist as a policy in different political parties, including yours, the ruling party, the APC. But it's not implemented, as you know very well. Where's that 35%? I mean, I read an article yesterday in This Day about the Buhari women, they were called, which I find to be really bizarre. description for them. But 50 women, the presidency was proud to have this list of women, which is great that there are 50 women, but obviously there should be so many more. 500 would be nice. It would be a nice place to start. So what are you doing to ensure that that policy is actually implemented rather than just another word in the manifesto that's never actually applied?
Like I said, I think that most of the issues to do with this issue of women in politics have to be actually taken from the mindset reset of the Nigerian people, talking about, religion, talking about culture, talking about tradition. Because the fact of the matter remains that, just like you said, affirmative action is a thing in most of the political parties. It is a thing, even in the Constitution. There are certain sections that actually deal with affirmative action. Section 17, subsection 1, says that everybody has equal rights to freedom, justice, and equality. And it also goes on to say in subsection 2 that everyone have the same equal rights, obligations, and opportunities. This is under the 1999 Constitution as amended. So definitely these things exist within the Constitution, but they are in a part of the Constitution that is not justiciable. So section 6, subsection 6C says that everything contained within chapter 11 of the Constitution is non-justiciable, so you can't actually push for it. And I tell you this, the beginning of affirmative action actually started with JFK in America, where he wanted to ensure that people of color and even everybody would be encapsulated under the awards of contracts by the U.S. government. So he said that there should be this equality at that point. And from there, NAACP emerged, the NOW movement emerged, which is the National Organization for Women. Now, come back to Nigeria. After colonialism, there were issues where the Nigerian economy was dominated by expatriate organizations. And the Nigerian men didn't want that. Even the banks at that time would not give them financial instruments that put them ahead of the game. And so they came together and formed the indigenization and normalization policy of 1972, which gave them the right to have companies on 3 different levels. So either they run companies 100%, 60%, or 40%. I say all of this to say that they were not really just waiting for someone to come and hand them everything. It became a problem to the Nigerian man, and they took action, and it worked. So why would it be any different for women? Now, if we can look deeply into affirmative action, not even from a legal point of view, but from a point of view where we understand that women are critical stakeholders in nation building. Women are critical to the development of any organization or country. We saw last year during this terrible pandemic that the key country and the first country to be declared COVID-free was that run by a woman. And there were 6 countries like that. New Zealand in particular, within 7 weeks, was declared COVID-free. So there is a need for us to understand within our hearts and minds, away from even laws and legal instruments, even party policies and constitutions, that women decide what happens in this country by the mere fact that they are the mothers of this nation. They say that the hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that rules the world. So I want to believe that the more we sort of push for this from a psychological standpoint, from a more mindset reset standpoint, we'll get to where we go. You mentioned political parties, including mine. I'm a very loyal and proud member of the All Progressives Congress. And right now, under the chairmanship of His Excellency, the governor of Yobe State, Maimala Buni, who happens to be the chairman of the caretaker committee, we find that they are positioning themselves properly for women to take their rightful place, positioning themselves so that we will retain power come 2023, inshallah.
All right. Great things you've talked about there, but I want to talk about funding, because funding is the most important thing. All of the talk about politics and all of that, and inclusion of women in politics, if there's no fund to be able to run the election, nothing can be done. And I say that very strongly because recently a group I've seen on television, on Rise News I should say, set up a fund for women in politics, and I think their goal was to raise about 5 to 10 million US, to be able to get funding for women running at different categories all over the country. I mean, what's your take on initiatives like that, and how can we put more fund and resource together for women running across every political position in the country?
Yes, you're talking about Elect Her, which just launched its Agenda 35 with a fund of $2 million. And they are going ahead to bring in a fund of $10 million. I believe that should be applauded. Such initiatives are what we really need because, you cannot divorce money from politics. All around the world, it's not a Nigerian thing. Somebody once said that politics is not an exercise in poverty. So there is a very harsh reality of money politics. And the more women organizations that can come up and help in this way, the more the government itself and the parties can make policies that back women, taking the strain off of money matters, because we know that women are not emancipated yet from these economic and political issues. So the more definitely we can look at ways to reduce the financial burden on women in politics, the more women will join, and I think the more women will win. It is not that women are not interested in running for office, neither is it that women don't have the capacity to join this very difficult road called politics in Nigeria. But like you said, most of the problem does come from the fact that Nigerian women just don't have the economic capacity to play the game like the men's play it.
Well, Zainab, we have just about 2 minutes to go for a short commercial break. But before then, you've talked about inclusion. The program you had yesterday at the Aspire Women Forum talked about leadership, power, politics. And one of the objectives was about how to foster solidarity. Now, we often get told that leadership is a game of numbers. Ordinarily, it shouldn't be a problem for women to emerge in leadership elective positions because it's women in Nigeria mostly, really, who go out to vote. But then, among Nigerian women, you find that it's the same women who vote for men. So how do you foster solidarity among the Nigerian women folk? And there can be a broad-based sense of ownership, whereby in 2023, you can have Nigerian women saying, we were voting our own. We have had enough of these men. Let us try women. But before you answer, maybe we should take that break. Okay, please go ahead. We still have a few seconds.
All right. We all know that it is the person that pays the piper that dictates the tune that the piper plays. So the only reason and the main reason why you find that women are following men is because of the economic angle of it. That's the plain truth.
Okay, so, well, which takes you back to the question about funding. Hello, Zainab?
Yeah.
Which takes us back to the question of funding. Anyway,
yes, I'm here.
Yes, okay. Let's take this short break. Then when we return, the conversation will continue. Welcome back to the morning show here on the Arise News channel. Our guest is still Zainab Marwa-Abubakar, lawyer, founder, and president, Aspire Women's Forum, secretary of Progressive Congress, North Central Zonal Supervisory Committee, and national coordinator, APC Female Aspirant Forum. Zainab, thank you very much for staying with us. Well, I would still like to go back to the question I asked you about how to foster solidarity from the point of view of strategy. I don't think it's enough. I don't have any particular answer in mind for you to just say, well, he who pays the piper dictates the tune. Because there is power in numbers. And if women are in the majority on election day, what is your forum doing, either at the party level or at the NGO level, to see that you conscientize Nigerian women to support their own kind? Because, you know, we've had many female politicians on this program, particularly in the lead up to the 2019 elections. And they will give the impression that women do not support their own. Is it true? Is that the case? And if so, how do we correct that?
That's a very loaded question. I think we have about 5 things for me to answer. So let me start from the issue of takes the tune. Unfortunately, that is the position that we find ourselves in Nigeria today. If I have to choose between feeding my children and voting a woman in, I will feed my children. And that is the money that the men are actually giving to the women. And we cannot divorce poverty from the equation of, lack of women partnership in progress for the voting time, especially. I believe you also asked what my organization was doing. So we deal with motivational behavioral coaching, financial inclusion, and politics. So the politics angle, we do a lot of mentorship, a lot of transgenerational integration and discussions, because we need to learn from the other women that have been there. We need to know what their successes and their challenges have been so that we can learn and grow from there. Now, if you're talking about strategy, the fact of the matter is that it starts long before elections. So right now, APC is going through the revalidation and registration exercise, of which I'm part of the committee, the supervisory committee for the North Central Zone. So there's a need now for women to take the talk off of, the social media and come down to the local government level of politics. You need to go and, first of all, link yourself with a party. And of course, I'm going to push for my party, the All Progressives Congress, because we're really repositioning ourselves, like I said, for a better gender story moving forward. So when you link yourself with a political party, then you now start thinking about getting yourself into the actual party, not just as a member, but, as a participant in the NWC or in the directorate of the political party. Countries like Namibia have shown us that where there is gender parity at the party level, or a very good percentage of women at the party level, it directly translates into more women being elected into political positions or even appointed positions. Now, this issue of becoming a party member or a person that has an active role in the party will help you moving forward, because you learn on your feet about what politics really is, and then you have women there pushing for other women, which is the natural progression of things that we are looking for. So just like you said, we need to be really, really strategic and not, play the victim, not more. We need to sit down, which is what Aspire Women Forum is doing. Sit down with women interested in politics, sit down with young women and talk to them about these strategic areas that they can actually push themselves into. And even when you talk about finances, there are quite some grants out there. We have the Nigerian Women Trust Fund, headed by Mufuliat Fijabi, that is actually getting funds to create symposiums for women to sit down and discuss these issues, and even money to buy forms and things like that. So it's better that we sit down and tell ourselves the truth right now, because 2023 is fast approaching. Let us find money, since we do understand that money is a really big problem. Let us involve ourselves strongly and deliberately in the political system itself. Like I said, and I cannot say enough, by joining a political party. Right now, APC is everywhere. Everybody knows that we're doing the revalidation and the registration exercise. So go to your locality, join APC, and, continue from there to want to be even a bigger player within the political party system.
Whip out your broom as well. I really just pushed that advert for joining APC. But I'm going to go back to affirmative action. Now, constitutional provisions or otherwise enshrining equal rights are actually an argument against affirmative action. People have gone to court all over the world saying that affirmative action actually infringes on their rights. Men get upset when it's towards women. Other majorities get upset when it's aimed at empowering minorities. So this is, I suppose, why you have perfunctory gestures that some political parties make, such as just reducing registration fees for women, giving them a little discount, and not doing the hard work. Do you think that for 2023, APC will be bold enough, will be courageous enough to have all women primaries for certain positions, such that no matter what, it will be a woman that will carry the flag for APC at all levels of government?
That's a brilliant suggestion, Tunda, and I'm sure that my bosses are watching, and even if they don't have it in mind, they will take that idea from you. I believe that as 2023 approaches, definitely within APC, I know that our constitution is being reworked. I know that we are being repositioned and rejigged by our leadership. We have a wonderful women representative in the person of Honorable Stella Okotete, who is also the ED of Nexim Bank. She has come in with fire, with force, and she's really pushing for the women to have more positions, especially within the party. Because like I said, that is the key way to ensure that ideas like yours, having all women primaries, ideas like, yes, reducing the amount of money that you do pay for forms, which already in APC, actually, women do pay half. And we pay half because we don't want to be put in a position where we're not paying our dues. You know, when you're struggling to climb a mountain, you need to also have a backpack with the things that you need on it so that nobody would ask you and you will be left wanting. So we actually decided that it would not be a bad idea for the women to pay something so that we do feel that we're part and parcel of the party moving forward. But with regards to affirmative action, yes, I did tell you that there are certain sections of the Constitution that preach equality, but within the same Constitution, like I said, subsection 6C says that everything within Chapter 11, which is where we have things talking about the equality of people under the law, everything under that is non-justiciable. So that is why we wanted to have an act that actually talks about affirmative action. So for women, the actual affirmative action of 35%, which is what we're asking for, comes from the Beijing Platform for Action from 1995. And we felt that that is a very good number, at least to start with. And that's why that act being passed is very, very important. But as it is, I know that the Women in Politics and a lot of other organizations, Women in Politics run by Barrister Ibere Ifendu, I know that they are going to court to find out what equality means and who equality is actually meant for, which I know that in some other African countries they did and brought out a good answer for the Women in Politics question. But affirmative action really is a solution if it is adhered to and if we follow what it says of 35% based on law. But that would be very difficult. And that's why I, as a person, and I know a lot of other women, are pushing for a mindset reset. So we're pushing to make people within Nigeria, within the power corridors, understand that, you know, years past, women were in powerful positions, but something obviously changed. And now we're back here trying to get a seat at the table. And I do believe that by 2023, and even before then, we will get a seat at the table.
On that note, Zainab, we would like to thank you very much for joining us on The Morning Show. Thank you very much indeed. We look forward to seeing you another time.